The attic was Maya's favorite place, filled with forgotten things and the warm glow of afternoon light. Her best friend, Jax, coughed dramatically, complaining it smelled like ancient socks and mysteries. But Maya just laughed. She loved digging through old boxers, and today she found gold. Lifting the heavy lid of a wooden trunk, she pulled out a weathered, rolled-up map. Red dotted lines stretched across the entire United States. "This looks like a treasure map," she whispered, her eyes wide with excitement. Jax peered over her shoulder, joking, "Pirate treasure, American edition." But then Maya saw her grandpa's signature scrawled at the bottom. The joking stopped. They raced downstairs, the map clutched in Maya's hand. Grandpa Leo was in his armchair, polishing an old brass compass. He looked at the map, and a soft, surprised smile spread across his face. "I drew that when I was your age," he said, his voice quiet. "I always dreamed of crossing America, but life had other plans." Maya and Jax exchanged a look. It was a silent agreement, a spark of an idea that grew into a promise. "Then we'll finish it for you," Maya declared, her voice firm. Grandpa Leo's smile deepened. He placed the compass in her hand. "This doesn't point north," he told her. "It points to what matters most." And with that, the journey began. Grandpa Leo's old camper van became their ship, and the kids were the navigators. Their first stop, the blazing red-gold deserts of the Southwest. Maya stuck her head out the window, the wind whipping through her hair, completely in awe of the vast, painted landscape. Jax, on the other hand, melted dramatically in the back seat, fanning himself with the map. At the rim of a massive canyon, they stared out at cliffs carved by time itself. A friendly park ranger approached them, reminding them to treat the land with respect. "This place is older than any story we could tell," he said, his words echoing the ancient whispers of the wind. That evening, as they drove through Monument Valley, the setting sun turned the towering mesas into glowing giants. Jax, who had been complaining about the heat all day, finally fell silent. "Wow," he admitted. "I didn't know sunsets could flex so hard." Leaving the desert behind, they climbed higher, into snow-capped mountains. The air grew crisp and cold. Jax grumbled as he struggled up a steep trail, his backpack stuffed with enough granola bars to feed a small army. He was not built for hiking. But then, at the top of a ridge, a bald eagle soared gracefully above them, its wings spread wide against the brilliant blue sky. "Eagles symbolize courage," Maya said, watching it disappear behind a peak. Jax, still catching his breath, asked, "Does courage include being terrified of heights?" Maya just smiled at him. "Courage means doing things even when you're scared," she replied gently. And together, they looked out at the world stretching below, feeling braver than they had before. The rugged mountains soon melted into lush, green forests as they reached the coast. They found themselves standing among the towering redwoods of California, trees so tall they seemed to touch the sky. The kids craned their necks back, feeling tiny next to these ancient giants, some older than entire cities. A forest guide told them that redwoods grow slowly, but they grow strong. Their roots intertwined deep beneath the earth, supporting one another. That night, gathered around a crackling campfire, the stars bright above them, Jax finally asked the question that had been on his mind. "Maya, why did you want to do this so badly?" Maya stared into the dancing flames for a moment before answering softly. "Because Grandpa never got the chance. And being out here, exploring, it makes me feel alive." Jax poked the fire with a stick. "Well," he said, a small smile on his face, "you dragged me along because I'm your best friend, Maya Lajit," and they toasted their marshmallows to friendship and snacks. Next, they crossed into the American heartland, a patchwork of endless fields under a wide-open sky. They stopped in a cheerful little town on Route 66, the kind of place that felt stuck in a wonderful, bygone era. A diner waitress with a bright smile brought them towering milkshakes with extra whipped cream, winking as she set them down. "Travelers deserve treats," she said. But the warm, sunny day turned dark with alarming speed. The sky twisted into a threatening mix of gray and green. Jax's eyes widened in panic as the first crack of thunder echoed across the plains. What was that? He yelped. Maya grabbed his arm as lightning split the sky. We need to find shelter, she yelled over the wind. They spotted a storm shelter sign and ran for it, huddling together inside as the storm raged. Jax trembled. What if we don't make it? He whispered, his voice shaking. Maya took his hand, her grip firm and steady. Storms pass, she said, looking him in the eye. Friends stay. And just as she said, the storm eventually cleared, and sunlight poured onto the fields like forgiveness. Soon, the cornfields were replaced by skyscrapers. They had reached New York City. The energy of the place was electric, a stark contrast to the quiet forests and empty plains. Times Square pulsed with a dizzying kaleidoscope of neon lights and bustling crowds. Jax spun in a slow circle, completely overwhelmed. It feels like someone spilled a bucket of electricity everywhere, he said, laughing. They found a spot on the famous red steps and marked the second to last dot on their map. From there, they headed east, driving until the land simply couldn't go any farther. The air started to smell of salt and sea. They arrived at the Atlantic Ocean just as the sun began to rise, painting the sky in soft shades of pink and orange. The waves washed gently at their feet, a calming rhythm at the end of their long journey. Maya carefully unrolled the map and laid it on the damp sand. We did it, she breathed, a quiet sense of wonder in her voice. Deserts, mountains, forests, cities, all of it. Jax stood beside her, nodding. Across the wide American sky, he added. Together, they took out a red marker and drew the final line, connecting the last dot to the edge of the continent. The map was complete. Back home, Grandpa Leo was waiting for them in his old armchair. When the kid spread the completed map across his lap, his eyes filled with tears. "You finished my dream," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. Maya shook her head gently. "No, Grandpa," she said, her own eyes shining. "We lived it." Jax chimed in, and we made our own dream, too. Grandpa Leo pulled them both into a tight hug, a hug that smelled of home and love. "Tell me everything," he said, his voice full of pride. And as they sat in the warm living room, their voices tumbling over each other as they shared their stories of canyons and eagles, of storms and skyscrapers, their journey ended right where it had begun, in the home of someone who believed in them. But dreams don't end at the ocean, and the sky is still wide. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.